My guest is the newest regular on Kill Tony, good friend of mine, a guy from Seattle. I'm excited to welcome the very funny Hans Kim.
Hey, what's up, Adam? Good to see you again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Are you recording? You're in your van right now?
Yeah,
Nice,
the
nice. It's
whole
a
van.
little. Are you in the back of the front?
I'm in the living quarters.
We got a lot. I have a lot of fucking questions for you because before this episode, I was thinking, like, did we see each other like a year ago last year? Was that when you were up in Seattle, or was it 2 years ago now?
No, it was during the pandemic.
Okay.
I visited during the normal years a couple times, but I think we met during the pandemic.
Yeah, I had heard about you quite a bit and then we hung out a little bit, but you were only here for a minute, but you started in Seattle, right? Like that's where you started doing comedy?
Yeah, that's my alma mater.
Yeah. And do you miss it?
Yeah, it was a great place. I enjoyed it, low pressure, no industry. Um, I could do as many mics as I wanted, and I could do 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a music open mic. The people there were nice and smart and not like too career focused, but like also like funny and stuff. Yeah, it was a great place to start.
But like you ended up going to New York, but what were you doing 9 to 5 prior to going to New York?
I was just living at my mom's house, my parents' house. Um, and I didn't really have to work. I got a job at Burger Master for like 3 months. I did Uber Eats whenever I needed money, but I had food stamps, so I didn't really need money for food, and I had rent. So I had food and rent. All I needed money for was gas to get around to Mike's. But yeah, I was just living the comedy life full time from day one. I didn't tell myself I needed a 9 to 5 to define myself because I don't. So
Yeah.
I didn't have a job.
But didn't you went to like fucking Georgia Tech, didn't you?
Hello. Yeah. I went to Georgia Tech. I did work at a startup company for 6 months, right after college in Chattanooga. So actually, I was in college in Atlanta. I got suspended for 1 semester for shoplifting. So it took 4.5 years to graduate. And then I
What
did
did
an
you
intern.
steal?
Huh? Oh, like I was just stealing a bunch of stuff all the time. But the time I got caught was like plates and bowls and computer mice and just anything I could fit in my bag and walk out with and anything I wanted. It's like shopping as a rich person. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I got caught and it cost a lot of money to pay for a lawyer. Actually, my lawyer who got me like pretrial aversion is the same guy that's defending in Atlanta right now the murderer of Ahmaud Arbery, the black guy that got shot while jogging.
Damn.
Jason Sheffield was my lawyer against shoplifting and defending Travis McMichaels for shooting a black dude for running. So that's the kind of guy that takes your money and makes sure you don't have to see jail time if you have enough money in Georgia.
Dude, the coincidences that you have in your life and just like what you've run into, it like we're gonna get to where you're at right now, but I've been meaning to talk to you for a while now. Like this whole like decision to just go full-time comedy, live in a van, give zero fucks. Like you went from Seattle to living in New York, and like how did that work? Because it's your experience was different than a lot of people. Like you you weren't really working when you were there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started out working at Surrett Metalworks, which is like a metalworking company. They make spiral staircases and stuff. So I was working when I first got there. I was living in Sunset Park and I was doing like 2, 3 mics a day and traveling 40 minutes to go home and get to mics and stuff. Yeah, so I was staying on my friend's couch when I first moved looking for a job, and then I got a place to rent near my job, just cheap in Sunset Park, which is like far away. It's like in South Brooklyn where the poor people live. None of the art happens there. But yeah, I had a job and then eventually was like, I don't want to work that much. It just takes away from what I actually want to do, and it doesn't give me anything besides like, social credit. So I just quit and bought a minivan for 700 bucks and started living in the back of a minivan in January in New York City in a sleeping bag.
How did that
Yeah,
go?
it was fun. I stayed in that thing for a year, learned about myself and survival and thermodynamics and heat transfer. Yeah, like keeping yourself warm was a fun, exciting challenge. And it's just like going back to the basics. Like it costs too much to have someone else build my home for me. I'll just build my own home. So I did that, and then I was free to do comedy. I lived in right by the creek in Queens, Creek in the Cave, and I just did mics there. They have 3 mics there every night, pretty much. So I would just do the free mics in New York and slowly get better and be around some of the most talented, most curmudgeonly depressed assholes in the world for comedy. So that made me a lot better, I think. But I don't want to be there too long because then I would be depressed and sad and just like, what the fuck am I doing here? No one respects anything but success and money grubbing and shaking the right hands and all that bullshit. So I'm glad I got out, but it did help me improve. I think it was a great experience.
Did you didn't fuck with the clubs at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not by choice. They didn't fuck with me. I would have loved to have done some comedy clubs, but yeah, yeah. I tried a couple shows at New York Comedy Club. I went up once or twice at Gotham. But yeah, they don't really care. They have enough funny people. They're not trying to get a funnier show. They're just trying to maintain and sell hot dogs and beers. They don't really care
Just sell the chicken wings and
about
fucking
finding the newest talent.
yeah. It Wilfred talked to me when he was in town and he mentioned like because I'm interested in going to New York, but he said to me, he's like, dude, this it what New York used to be for comedy, like the development aspect of it isn't there anymore. Like there's no infrastructure where clubs like lift you up and like there's no like ladder system to helping people get better. It's just like them selling tickets and doing shows and stuff. Would you agree with that or what do you think
Yeah, I
about
mean,
that?
I think so. Unless you're one of the few people that get lucky and happen to get into the system. I mean, they don't uh I think it's our culture, like all they care about is money. But if you do get lucky, it's awesome. It's just not very likely in terms of the odds. But the best part of it is just getting to be around other people like yourself, and the people make it good. The clubs don't, the people do.
Yeah, my I just met I think a friend of yours, Nasil Azil. I don't know if you remember her from New York.
Oh, yeah. I forget how to pronounce her name.
Yeah,
Well, how did you say it?
Nasil Azil. I fuck it up
Oh,
too,
okay.
but she's super
Yeah.
cool, and you can just see like the New York on her that she like, you know, grinded and like just loves comedy. Like I think it's to start there is a fucking. It seems. I mean, I'm happy that I've gotten in front of the audiences that I have in Seattle. I just
Yeah.
I mean, if would you do what you did over again? Like, would you go to New York
Yeah.
from Seattle or would you go somewhere else possibly?
I mean, this was pre-pandemic, so yeah. What other options are there? I could just go to another middling city and not get any success, or I could not get any success in New York with a small chance that I might have success, and also get a lot better because just being around that many talented people is great. But um, I feel like if you stay in New York too long, or if you're the wrong type of person, then you're intimidated by all the talent around you, and you don't work on your own talent. You just try to make it by cheating or getting lucky. So then you just turn into this like businessman kind of comedian, and you don't work on your personality. You just become a husk of a person, just trying to climb the ladder. And I think that's a danger of being in New York too long. As long as you are happy enough and creative enough to actually pursue your skill, then I think you should be in New York to get better, and then hopefully you can get successful there, or you can move to another city and start working the road or something.
Mhm. What, so you went from the minivan in New York to like this full size Sprinter you got? Like, what was the rationale for that? Was just like, was it not working in the minivan when you were there?
I mean, the minivan would die all the time and it was not drivable. I couldn't do anything with it. So I was like, I need to get a new. And if I'm going to spend $1,500 on a new minivan, it's going to break down in a couple of years. So I might as well get like a nice one and take care of it and stay in it a long time. So it's just like, if I'm going to get something new anyways, I might as well get something nice.
Yeah. And you got the Sprinter van. Did you like outfit, or because you did all that shit like on the street of New York, right? Like it's not like you had a garage to take all this. Like people with van life, people usually like take their shit in and work on it for 6 months. Weren't you like kind of living in it while you were working on it?
Yeah, I would go to parking lots, Home Depot parking lots, just buy all the stuff there, then work on it. And then I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot this thing. And then I could just go into Home Depot and buy supplies. So it's pretty convenient.
It's
But
so
yeah, people would look at me weird. I would take those shopping carts and set them up like little workbenches and start cutting panels and wood. So I just used the things around me. Yes, just slowly, little by little, built. My friend helped me build the bed. I got this kitchen island that I use as my sink. I cut a hole in the kitchen island as my sink. I got it in Coney Island for free. Because like having a van, you can just pick up a lot of bulky items that people want to get rid of. So that was convenient.
like after doing this, would you, are you happy with the choice to do it? Because that's a big fucking
Yeah,
investment to go from,
still living in it. It's 3 years later. I'm still in it in this thing.
you paid
So
12 grand, so it's pretty solid.
yeah, it's like a year's worth of rent.
Yeah, and you've been super mobile, right? Like you, even before the pandemic, you went all the way down to Florida and shit, and
Yeah.
like you've been using it just to like travel for comedy on the cheap, right? I think you cut out there for a second.
Yeah, so I was in Miami when the pandemic hit, and I was like, I'm not going back to New York because in March of 2020, New York was crazy with coronavirus, and now I don't have to like go back and close out my apartment and get all my stuff and move out. I just have everything with me. Like I was very mobile, and so I just took off because I was doing this like 2 month road trip down the coast. I did Philadelphia, Washington D.C., Richmond, Atlanta, and then I was in Miami. So I was on the run. I was mobile when the pandemic hit, and now I can be, I can move anywhere I want.
Is
I'm
it
not
better
tied down to
being in the
anything.
van like outside of cities? Like, do you like it more? Because I would think like parking and shit like that, it would just be louder in New York, and like you're in Texas now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good and bad because in New York, like people mind their own business, and there's like lots of cars, and you can take the subway, so you can just leave the car parked, the van parked, and go anywhere you want without having to use miles. And then out and anywhere else in America, suburban sprawl, so you have to drive everywhere. So you have to actually use your van to drive around. New York was pretty tough because it's like dirty and stuff like that, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, all cities are pretty much the same. Right now I'm in the suburbs. I'm plugged into power. That's pretty useful. But yeah, I mean, really depends. And plus the benefits of New York are pretty awesome. Like New York is a pretty awesome city. But yeah, I mean, the best is just out in the country when no one gives a fuck or when no one is. Like I went camping during the pandemic and it was just it's ideal because you can just fling all the doors open and you don't have to worry about someone peering in. So yeah,
Yeah, weren't
it's
you in the
cleaner.
fucking middle of the desert for like a while, right?
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's
I have
crazy.
everything I need in here. Like I have solar panels. Like I don't need the city. I can just go wherever I want. I would just go on hikes. I'd build fires, cook meat. I have a fridge in here. I would bring meat. I could survive for at least 2 weeks. I had water. I have a sink. I have a TV. I was watching a lot of like political podcasts and stuff while the Capitol riots were happening and Trump was getting doing his thing. So it's just like awesome. Like I have everything I need in here and it's a great feeling when you don't need things from other people.
Yeah, it's crazy that you're coming on because I the last episode I did was with my cousin, and he lived in northern Alaska for like 8 years in the woods, like with nothing. He's on the show Life Below Zero, and I
That's
was
your cousin?
yeah, Glenn is his name.
Oh, Villeneuve.
Uh,
Someone
Villeneuve.
else. Villeneuve.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He
Yeah,
so
I know that guy.
we went up and stayed at his camp, and I talked to him about you doing the van and I'm because I've been considering it too, but I what are the downsides, dude? Like tell me, just be honest, like is because every time I think about this, I'm like, I don't want to shit in the van. Like that aspect of it is like it are there some parts of it that are still like just unsavory to you to where like you're like, oh, this is a bummer of this, or is there not?
No. I shit in the van. I piss in the van. I got a piss bucket right here. I have sex in the van. I sometimes it leaks. I have to plug it up, but that's it's not really a big deal. I'd much rather do that than like show up to an office and fucking pretend to be dedicated to the company ethos. I think that the social, spiritual cost of living and having a home off the free market is way higher than shitting in a van. Like shitting in a van is like it's understandable, but like wasting your life 40 hours a week for some bullshit company is not understandable. That's a waste of your life. Everyone has to shit. I just happen to do it in a bucket. Not everyone has to waste all their time in a pointless company. But I mean, yeah, I mean, some people are good at that. So if you're good at wasting your time and pretending to care about things that no one could possibly care about, I would say continue to work in an office.
Yeah,
But
I no, I don't like it, dude. I don't like it at all, and that's why I I do the like math on the situation, and I I always think about like I mean the change that you made. It's a big fucking change to make. Like, was there a specific thing that got you to make that decision or do kind of the leap of faith? Like, because it is a little outside of social norms. Just be like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna sleep in this fucking van. And I mean, was there someone that inspired you to do it, or was it just like it made sense
yeah, it
on
was more
paper?
of a practical thing. It wasn't like angry or like a spur of the moment thing. It was just like I was so used to not paying rent with my mom, living
Mhm.
at my mom's house for 5 years in Seattle. I was like, why am I doing this? This is a waste of time. How can I not do this? How can I not pay rent? And then this seemed like an option. And now I own this thing. I own my own means of producing my survival. So now I don't have to rely on others. But yeah, I mean, it was like practical. It was just like I don't want to work. What can I do? and this was like one of the only options unless I want to get a tent and sleep on the sidewalk.
I mean, it fucking makes sense. And it's I mean, arguably having that has led to so much of what you've been going through recently. Like, because you were up in Seattle during the pandemic. That's when I met you. And then you ended up taking the van down, like down the coast to LA and shit. And then you were in the desert for a while. And then you got to Texas, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Because,
mobile.
and what was the, like, what was the rationale behind that? Why did you want to go to Texas?
Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe were here. They were making everyone come here as like a beacon. It's like we're gonna do comedy here. So it was very awesome. Like, and I was already disillusioned with the centers of power after being in New York. I was like, oh, this isn't what it is meant to be. This is just a money grab, and it's just a way to exploit people. So I was just like, I don't care about LA or New York anymore. I know it's not about comedy for them. It's about I don't know, financial solvency. So I was like, oh, let's just go to Austin because they're starting a new scene. And also it was a toss up because I really enjoyed my time in LA. Like I felt like I was making headway there. So I was like, I could go to LA or I could go to Austin. I already been to LA. Let me go to Austin. I haven't been. And my friend Rebecca Peterson really helped me. She was like, yeah, you should go to Austin. Austin sounds dope. Because I was like living with her for like a month or two, just hanging out um, on her property because she has like a rental property where she rents out RVs too. But yeah, she was just like, yeah, that sounds awesome, you should go there. So I was like, yeah, I'll go there, maybe I'll get to meet Joe Rogan. And then I did, so it all worked out.
I feel like you're gonna end up on his podcast, dude. Like I really think that you're gonna end up on his podcast at some point here.
Wasn't Glenn on his
He was,
podcast?
yeah.
Yeah, that's where I saw him.
I talked to him about that, and he 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 asked Rogan like how he came up with this material, and they didn't really know each other. He was like walking to the studio, and Rogan's like, I just smoke a lot of pot. But yeah, man, it just, what is Austin like right now? Like it seems so, because wasn't Austin like a super liberal scene comedy wise
Yeah,
prior to all of this?
it was like Seattle.
Yeah. And what has
And
happened?
now it's like a bunch of, Joe Rogan fans, a bunch of young dudes who say faggot, move there, and retard. And now it's like completely different. There's two scenes. There's the people who just moved here and the people that are the old scene, and they're almost like completely severed from each other. But like the new scene is like very vibrant. People are very excited to be here, and they're most of them are like 2 or 3 years in, but they're so enthusiastic and they love comedy. And I don't know, it's a great energy. Everyone's really excited to be here, and everyone's like driving each other to succeed. And no one is like zero sum mentality. Everyone is like, positive and generally as much as comedians can be. So it's a great energy. Like we're making it our own, and we don't rely, we're not relying on the way things used to be to tell us how to be. We're just making it as we go, and it's exciting. Like it's a great scene. It's a great energy. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to be a part of something like this. So I think it's great.
I mean, what are you doing most of the time though? Aren't you just like playing Catan and shit? Like I have seen some of your sets on Kill Tony. Like it seems like a big ass party down there all the time. Like
It's
is
a
it pretty?
party. Yeah. Everyone's partying. We all hang out. We all drink. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like most of the time it doesn't happen. Most of the time, like in the comedy world, you do your set, everyone has jobs, they go home. But now, like, not a lot of people have jobs, I guess. And we just go over to whoever is partying. and we just hang out and drink and talk shit and smoke weed and do a lot of drugs. There's like ketamine here, Molly I did 2 nights ago. There's DMT pens I have. There's a lot of drugs here, mushrooms and acid, of course, and everyone is having a good time. I think the pandemic was really like, oh, we only have one life, and it can all be taken away, and having other people around is a very good thing. And because we were social distancing for 2 or 3 months, some longer, and it's like we were invigorated with our love of society and humanity and friendship again. So I think everyone is just expressing that, and everyone's hanging out and having a good time together.
That's fucking wild. So then how were you on Kill Tony when it was in LA still, or did you start like getting up there in Texas?
That's when I really started doing it, doing
Sorry,
Kill Tony.
you cut out there for a little bit.
I
Say that one more
started
time.
doing it in Austin. Yeah, it all started here in Texas.
And why did you like? What was appealing about it? Because
Kill Tony.
yeah, because this is the thing. Like you're someone who's very, um, kind of. Is it fair to say anti-industry? Like you're not looking to really like monetize your comedy unless it's on your terms.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that would go on Kill Tony for the opposite reason. Like they want to get notoriety and fame and stuff. And you've always been somebody like there's not a lot of people I know that would go to like 20, 30 open mics in a week because that's what they want to be doing. Like why did you want to do Kill Tony? What about that situation was appealing to you?
Um, I like Kill Tony because it gives comedians a chance to do comedy and on a big scale. And in the interview section, it's about like who the person is and finding interesting things about them. And it's just like a real people, and doing open mics for 8 years. It's like you get to get in that mindset of like, oh, how do you talk to people? What is interesting about them? What does this person want? Just perfect for that sort of mentality, for
Mm-hmm.
that, for being in that kind of environment. So it just fit. Like I was like, I'm in that sort of mind state as it is. Being doing open mics, and Kill Tony embodies that kind of mindset on a professional grand scale. So it was Kill Tony's great. I wouldn't think it's like industry. I don't think it's for real. I think it's more organic, and like it's just Tony. He made it on his own. So it's like a real show, like a show that came from the bottom and now it's here.
For sure. Yeah, it what are your thoughts on I mean, you've done probably more open mic than anybody I know. And there are a lot of people I know that would be like, you have to get in front of real audiences in order to get better or stronger. Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think that they overestimate the value of dumb country hicks in Walla Walla who are not cultured and just want cheap emotions. And they underestimate the value of disgruntled, grumpy comedians sitting in a dark room waiting to go up. Those are real audience members too. That's an audience of people, human beings with ears that hear your joke and also happen to know comedy on a deeper level than some fucking dude who pays $40 to watch comedy once a year. And if you can make that audience laugh, then you can find that skill to transfer over to another audience. And I think that you deal with the audience that you have, and if this is the only audience available to me, then I will perfect my skill on them, and then I will use whatever transferable skills to talk to dumb low IQ yokels in the middle of the country. It's easier to do that transition than the other way around.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking hard in Seattle too. Like, there's just not as much opportunity to get up. Like, everything's so sporadic and stuff. So I'm thinking about personally, like, what do I want to do next? Where I want to go, and everything kind of stalled because of the pandemic, and it didn't for you, obviously, because you just fucking kept going for it. But I really appreciate like seeing what you're doing, and just I'm stoked for you, man. Like, that's it. There are so many people I know. Like, there's a lot of people in this space, in this industry, whatever you want to call it, that are pretty fucking fake. And uh I haven't ever gotten that vibe from you. Like, you're about what you're doing, and it pisses a lot of people off, I would say, right? Like, that's not is that a fair
Well,
statement?
maybe in Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, in New York too. I guess I'm just like I'm not like very friendly. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm Asian and I'm not used to talking in the American way. And also maybe it's because I have like I don't know, chronic neck injury that makes me miserable all the time.
Oh shit, I
But
didn't know that.
yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm just guessing as to why I'm curmudgeonly and angry all the time. Maybe it's my exploitation at the hands of capitalism. But yeah, I mean, I think that I could do open mics and not be such a dick, but I just chose to be a dick and to do a lot of open mics. I don't think they correlate, or maybe they do. Maybe after doing a lot of open mics, you just don't respect people as much anymore. But hopefully not.
Yeah, man. What's sort of next for you though? Like, what I mean, you're doing Kill Tony now. Is it Do you have any like sort of trajectory you're looking to take that to, or is it just riding the wave?
I'd like to start featuring on the road and then headlining, uh, working on writing new jokes and having an hour. Maybe do sketches, continue to do internet stuff. Yeah, I mean, just express myself in every way possible. I mean, I like podcasting. I like acting when I can get writing sketches. I like, doing man on the street interviews. And I mean, yeah, I could do anything. I want to, yeah, do a lot of things. But yeah, it's just like I'm so lazy. That's the only thing. Like I could write sketches and star in short films if I wanted to. I just can't motivate myself to do it. But at least I'm doing stand up.
It's been cool to watch you doing everything you're doing, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share this with a friend and rate and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. We're going to leave you with Jogger.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up